The massive starship UES Harmony drifted silently through the infinite darkness of space, its hull gleaming under the distant starlight. J. Park stood at the primary observation deck, his fingers pressed against the reinforced glass, watching the endless sea of stars. He was a communication specialist, young but highly respected among his crew for his unique ability to remain calm during complex diplomatic encounters. Captain Lee walked up behind him, her footsteps soft against the metallic floor. "We're approaching the collective's primary communication zone," she said, her voice steady and professional. The ship's advanced sensors hummed with anticipation, scanning the surrounding space for any signs of the alien vessels. Suddenly, a massive holographic projection appeared in the center of the bridge. The alien representative materialized, a creature with shimmering skin that changed colors like a living kaleidoscope. Its multiple eyes blinked in rapid succession, a communication method that human technology was still struggling to understand completely. "Greetings, Earth representatives," the alien spoke, its voice translating through complex quantum communication systems. The translation was almost perfect, but something always felt slightly off, like a musical note just slightly out of tune. Jay observed the creature carefully. Years of training had taught him that first contact situations could shift from peaceful to dangerous in mere seconds. His hand rested casually near the communication control panel, ready to adjust translation protocols if needed. The ship's computer began processing the initial communication waves. Thousands of algorithms worked simultaneously, attempting to create perfect linguistic bridges between human and alien communication systems. Dr. Yoon, the lead xenolinguist, monitored the data streams with intense concentration. "Scanning communication patterns," the ship's AI announced in its neutral tone. "Initial translation protocols engaging." What no one on the bridge expected was how a simple, seemingly insignificant human word would completely disrupt their carefully planned first contact scenario. When a minor technical glitch occurred during the initial communication sequence, Jay muttered almost unconsciously under his breath, "Oh fuck." The moment the word escaped his lips, something extraordinary happened. The ship's communication systems went into total chaos. Quantum translators flickered and died. Complex AI algorithms crashed. The holographic representation of the alien representative began to distort, its color patterns becoming wild and unpredictable. Captain Lee looked at Jay with a mixture of shock and confusion. "What just happened?" she demanded. Dr. Yoon's monitoring screens exploded with error messages. Lines of code scrolled faster than human eyes could follow, creating a mesmerizing but terrifying display of technological breakdown. The alien representative's multiple eyes expanded, showing what could only be described as genuine confusion. Its communication systems were experiencing something they had never encountered in thousands of years of galactic interactions. "Linguistic anomaly detected," the ship's AI announced, its voice now slightly distorted. Unable to process primary communication sequence, Jay realized something remarkable was happening. A single human word had done what no technological system could. It had created a complete communication barrier that defied all known linguistic algorithms. The alien vessel began to adjust its own communication systems. Waves of complex data began streaming between the two ships, each attempting to understand what had just occurred. But no matter how advanced their technologies were, they could not comprehend the nuanced complexity of that single human expression. Captain Lee approached. Jay, her professional demeanor slightly rattled. "Explain," she said quietly. "What just happened?" Jay could only shrug. The word that had caused such technological chaos was something so deeply human, so contextually complex, that no alien civilization could potentially understand its multiple layers of meaning and emotional depth. Outside the ship's windows, stars continued their silent dance. Galaxies spiraled in their eternal paths, completely unaware of the linguistic revolution happening within this small human vessel. A revolution triggered by a single, untranslatable word. The communication between humans and the alien collective had just entered uncharted territory. And no one, not the humans, not the aliens, and certainly not their advanced technological systems, knew exactly what would happen next. As the holographic representation of the alien representative continued to flicker and distort, one thing became crystal clear. Language was about to become humanity's most unexpected diplomatic weapon. The research facility buzzed with nervous energy. Dr. Yoon stood at the center of a massive circular room, surrounded by holographic displays showing fragmented data from the initial alien encounter. Her team of linguists and computer experts worked tirelessly, their fingers dancing across advanced touchscreens. "We need to understand what happened," she muttered, reviewing the communication logs for the 100th time. The single word that had caused such chaos continued to defy every known linguistic algorithm. Massive quantum computers lined the walls, their cooling systems humming loudly. Each machine represented billions of dollars in research, yet they had all failed to crack the linguistic mystery. The word, a simple human expression, had become more than just a communication barrier. It was a challenge to everything humanity understood about language. Jay Park was brought in as a key witness. He sat in a sterile white room, surrounded by researchers who looked at him like he was some kind of unique scientific specimen. His casual mutter had become the most significant linguistic event in human history. "Tell us exactly what you said," a senior researcher pressed. Jay repeated the word, and once again nearby computer systems flickered. Screens went blank. Advanced translation matrices collapsed. The research team discovered something extraordinary. The word wasn't just a word. It was a complex emotional concept that existed in a state of quantum linguistic uncertainty. It carried meanings that shifted based on tone, context, and emotional intensity. No alien technology could comprehend its fluidity. Dr. Yoon's primary assistant, a young researcher named Min, developed a theory. "It's not just about translation," she explained, her hands moving excitedly as she manipulated holographic data models. "It's about emotional complexity that exists beyond standard communication protocols." Alien research teams began sending their own investigators. Representatives from 17 different star systems arrived, each hoping to understand how a single human expression could create such technological chaos. The collective's top linguistic AI, a massive quantum computing system named Nova, attempted thousands of translation scenarios. Each attempt ended in complete failure. The AI's core processors would heat up, warning systems would activate, and the entire system would shut down. Jay watched the research unfold with a mixture of amusement and confusion. He was a simple communication specialist who had accidentally become the center of an intergalactic linguistic mystery. Outside the research facility, news networks across Earth began reporting on the extraordinary event. Linguists, computer experts, and communication specialists became overnight celebrities. The word that couldn't be translated had captured global imagination. Dr. Yoon discovered something even more fascinating. The word represented a unique human ability to express complex emotions through linguistic compression. It wasn't just a curse or a simple expression. It was a linguistic quantum state that defied traditional communication understanding. The alien researchers became increasingly frustrated. Their most advanced technologies, developed over thousands of years of intergalactic communication, had been defeated by a single human utterance. "We cannot comprehend," one alien researcher stated, its translation device producing a flat, emotionless voice. "Your language contains layers we cannot process." Min developed a breakthrough simulation. She created a complex model that showed how the word existed in multiple linguistic and emotional states simultaneously. It was like a living language particle that changed meaning with every slight variation in human expression. The research facility became a fortress of scientific investigation. Security was tight. Every communication was monitored. The word that had started everything continued to resist all attempts at translation. Jay found himself at the center of something much larger than himself. His casual expression had revealed something fundamental about human communication, its ability to be fluid, emotional, and utterly unpredictable. As days turned into weeks, the linguistic puzzle grew more complex. The collective's top researchers began to realize that they were facing something unprecedented. Humanity had discovered a form of communication that existed beyond traditional technological understanding. The word continued to resist translation. Computer systems continued to fail. And humanity stood on the edge of a linguistic revolution that would change intergalactic communication forever. No one knew exactly what would happen next. But everyone understood that something extraordinary was unfolding. A challenge to everything known about language, communication, and the way different species understand each other. The grand diplomatic chamber gleamed with polished surfaces and holographic displays. Representatives from 17 different star systems sat in a circular arrangement, their various forms creating a bizarre tableau of galactic diversity. Some were crystalline beings that shifted colors, others appeared as complex energy formations, and a few looked almost humanoid. At the center of the chamber, J. Park stood alone. He wore a simple dark uniform, looking surprisingly calm despite being the focal point of an intergalactic diplomatic crisis. The alien representatives watched him with a mixture of curiosity and barely concealed frustration. Kirill, the primary representative of the collective, spoke first. Its translation device produced a monotone voice that echoed through the chamber. "Explain the linguistic anomaly," it demanded, multiple eyes blinking in rapid succession. Jay understood he was being asked about the word that had broken every known translation system. He knew his response could determine the future of human-alien relations. The chamber's environmental controls struggled to accommodate the various biological needs of the assembled representatives. Some required extreme cold, others needed high-pressure atmospheres. Humanity's diplomatic technology worked over time to create a neutral environment. "The word is complex," Jay began, choosing his words carefully. "It represents emotional states that cannot be simply translated." A reptilian representative from a distant star system hissed something through its translation device. The holographic display showed visible frustration. These alien civilizations had spent millennia developing perfect communication technologies, and now a single human word had exposed their limitations. Dr. Yoon sat in the observation area, monitoring every detail of the diplomatic exchange. She had spent weeks preparing Jay for this moment. Understanding that he was now more than just a communication specialist, he was a potential diplomatic weapon. The collective's lead researcher, a being composed of interconnected energy patterns, projected a series of complex linguistic models. Each model attempted to break down the word structure, and each model failed spectacularly. "Your language defies mathematical logic," the energy being stated. Its form flickered, showing frustration that transcended traditional communication. Diplomatic tensions rose with each passing moment. Some alien representatives began suggesting that humanity's linguistic unpredictability could be a potential threat. Others saw it as a fascinating scientific challenge. Jay remained calm. He understood that his simple utterance had revealed something profound about human communication, its ability to exist in emotional states that defied traditional understanding. The chamber's holographic displays began showing statistical models. Billions of translation attempts, all failed. Computer systems from multiple civilizations had crashed when attempting to process the single human expression. "We demand explanation," Kirill repeated, its voice becoming slightly more aggressive. Jay smiled slightly. He realized that the word represented something uniquely human, an emotional complexity that couldn't be reduced to simple mathematical translations. Political representatives from Earth watched the proceedings with a mixture of pride and anxiety. This was more than a linguistic challenge. It was a potential diplomatic breakthrough or catastrophe. The alien representatives began discussing potential responses. Some suggested technological isolation of human communication systems. Others proposed extensive research collaborations. Dr. Yoon knew the real significance of the moment. This wasn't just about a word. It was about revealing the fundamental differences in how various galactic civilizations understood communication, emotion, and linguistic expression. Hours passed. The diplomatic chamber became a pressure cooker of tension, frustration, and scientific curiosity. Each alien civilization was forced to confront the possibility that their advanced communication technologies might have significant limitations. J. Park remained the calm center of this intergalactic storm. A single word had transformed him from a simple communications specialist to a potential game-changer in galactic diplomatic relations. As the session continued, one thing became increasingly clear. Humanity had accidentally discovered a form of communication that existed beyond traditional technological understanding. The word that couldn't be translated was more than just a linguistic anomaly. It was a potential diplomatic revolution. The future of intergalactic communication hung in a delicate balance, balanced on the edge of a single, untranslatable human expression. The research facility looked like a battlefield of technology. Massive quantum computers lined massive walls, their cooling systems creating a constant low hum. Researchers from multiple alien civilizations worked side by side with human experts, their determination burning brighter than the holographic displays surrounding them. Dr. Yoon stood at the center of the chaos, her hands moving rapidly across multiple interactive screens. She had assembled the most advanced research team in human history, a group of linguists, computer experts, and communication specialists who were determined to crack the linguistic mystery. J. Park watched from an observation platform. He had become more than just a witness. He was now a critical piece of the research puzzle. The word that had started everything continued to resist all attempts at translation. The primary quantum computer, nicknamed Titan, began a new series of translation attempts. Each attempt was more complex than the last. Algorithms danced across screens, creating intricate patterns that represented linguistic possibilities. An alien researcher named Vrix, a crystalline being that communicated through complex light patterns, introduced a breakthrough approach. We must understand emotional context, it suggested, its translation device producing a smooth, almost musical voice. The research team discovered something extraordinary. The word wasn't just a simple expression. It was a complex, emotional state that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Traditional translation methods were like trying to capture an ocean in a small glass. Min, Dr. Yoon's assistant, developed a radical new simulation. She created a quantum linguistic model that could track the word's emotional variations. The model showed how a single expression could carry hundreds of potential meanings depending on tone, context, and human emotional state. Alien technology began working alongside human research systems. Massive energy networks connected research centers across different star systems. Each civilization contributed its most advanced communication technologies. Titan started generating millions of translation scenarios per second. Holographic displays showed complex linguistic patterns that looked like living, breathing mathematical art. Each pattern represented a potential translation attempt. The facility became a fortress of scientific investigation. Security was tight. Every communication was monitored. Researchers worked in shifts, pushing the boundaries of linguistic understanding. Vrix introduced a breakthrough concept. Language is not just about words, the alien researcher explained. It's about emotional transmission. The crystalline being demonstrated how its own species communicated through complex light and energy patterns that carried emotional nuances. Dr. Yoon realized they were developing something more than a translation method. They were creating a new understanding of communication itself, a way of understanding how different species express complex emotional states. Jay found himself participating in increasingly complex research scenarios. Researchers monitored his brain patterns, recorded his vocal expressions, and analyzed every possible variation of the mysterious word. The quantum computer began showing unexpected results. Instead of complete failures, the translation attempts now produced fragmented, almost poetic linguistic constructions. It was like watching a new language being born in real time. Alien researchers became increasingly excited. What had started as a diplomatic challenge was now transforming into a profound scientific exploration of communication itself. The facility worked around the clock. Researchers from Earth and multiple alien civilizations shared meals, discussed theories, and pushed the boundaries of linguistic understanding. Cultural differences began to blur as they worked toward a common goal. Titan suddenly generated a breakthrough simulation. The holographic display showed a complex three-dimensional representation of the word. not as a simple translation, but as a living, breathing, linguistic entity. "We're close," Dr. Yoon whispered, her eyes reflecting the complex holographic display. "We're understanding something fundamental about communication." The research team had transformed a diplomatic challenge into a scientific revolution. They were no longer just trying to translate a word. They were exploring the very nature of how Kirill, the primary representative of the collective, approached the central platform. Its multiple eyes shifted colors, reflecting complex emotional states that human technology was only beginning to understand. "We acknowledge," Kirill began, its translation device producing a voice that carried unexpected warmth, "that human communication transcends our current understanding." The words marked a profound moment in intergalactic relations. What had started as a diplomatic crisis had transformed into a revolutionary understanding of communication itself. Dr. Yoon's breakthrough had revealed something extraordinary. The untranslatable word wasn't a limitation. It was a window into the complex emotional landscape of human communication. The research team had developed a new communication matrix that could capture linguistic nuances across different species. Rix, the crystalline alien researcher, presented the final research findings. Massive holographic displays showed how the word existed in multiple linguistic and emotional states simultaneously. It was like watching a living language particle that changed meaning with every subtle variation. The diplomatic representatives watched in silent amazement. Centuries of established communication protocols were being rewritten in real time. "Humanity has shown us," Rix explained, "that communication is more than simple translation. It is about emotional transmission." Jay understood the significance of the moment. His casual utterance had sparked a scientific and diplomatic revolution that would change intergalactic communication forever. The new communication protocols were groundbreaking. They recognized the fundamental complexity of linguistic expression, moving beyond simple word-for-word translations. Each civilization would now be understood not just through their words, but through their emotional context. Alien representatives began signing new diplomatic agreements. Humanity was granted a unique status, a species with a communication system so complex and nuanced that it defied traditional technological understanding. Min, Dr. Yoon's assistant, demonstrated the new communication matrix. Holographic displays showed how emotional states could be transmitted across different species' communication systems. It was like watching a universal language being born. The research facility's quantum computers had produced something miraculous, a communication system that could capture the subtle nuances of emotional expression across different biological and technological systems. Earth's diplomatic representatives watched with pride. What had started as a potential crisis had become humanity's greatest scientific achievement. Kirill approached Jay, its multiple eyes showing a complexity of emotion that would have been impossible to understand just months earlier. "You have changed everything," the alien representative stated. The diplomatic hall buzzed with excitement. Scientists, diplomats, and researchers from multiple star systems realized they were witnessing a fundamental shift in how intelligent beings understood each other. Dr. Yoon knew the true significance of their discovery. It wasn't just about translating a word. It was about understanding the deep, complex emotional landscapes that define intelligent communication. The new communication protocols would revolutionize intergalactic diplomacy. Trade agreements, scientific collaborations, and cultural exchanges would now be possible in ways never before imagined. Jay Park looked out over the assembled representatives. A simple utterance had brought humanity to this moment, a breakthrough that would be remembered for generations. The holographic displays continued to dance with complex linguistic patterns. It was like watching a new language being born, a universal method of communication that transcended traditional technological limitations. Outside the diplomatic hall, stars continued their silent journey through the infinite darkness of space. Galaxies spiraled in their eternal paths, now witnessing a moment that would change intergalactic communication forever. Humanity had accidentally discovered something profound, a way of understanding communication that went beyond words, beyond technology, and into the deep, complex realm of emotional expression. The untranslatable word had become a bridge between civilizations, a symbol of the incredible complexity of intelligent communication, and everything had changed.